This small New England town begged for an AI data center. The company still walked away. The tiny town of Jay, Maine, only has about 4,600 people and had been trying to turn its shuttered Androscoggin paper mill into a $550 million AI data center. The mill was hit by a 2020 explosion and years of significant business and financial challenges. The mill finally closed for good in 2023. The mill historically hired up to 1,500 workers, and the closure wiped out 230 jobs and roughly 12% of Jay's tax revenue in one stroke. In a town of only 4,600, losing those jobs hurt badly, and they haven't recovered. So when developer Sentinel Data Centers proposed building on the old 1,000-acre site, the town treated that proposal like a lifeline, even though the project itself would have replaced those original 230 mil jobs with about only 125 to 150 permanent jobs. Even still, Governor Janet Mills was so committed to the deal that she vetoed a statewide moratorium on new data centers specifically to carve out an exemption for Jay. Then, in June, Sentinel abruptly pulled out of the deal anyway. They were reportedly spooked by Maine's broader political resistance to data centers. So, the site remains empty. The town of Jay, Maine, is still pitching the deal to other developers. Key insights. Roughly 71% of Americans oppose new data centers near them, and 15 states have considered slowing or blocking them outright. Jay was the rare town begging for a data center. They offered up land, political capital, and a governor's veto, but they still could not close the deal. It's also not hard to see why communities around the US despise data centers. Consider what Amazon is doing in Pecos County, Texas, right now. Rather than wait in line for grid capacity for their power demands like everyone else, Amazon is building its own dedicated gas-fired power plant that some fear may emit more pollutants than any other power plant. The plant is also permitted to emit up to 33 million tons of CO2 a year, representing far more than any power plant in the US. That plant will run 35 turbines, generating 7.65 gigawatts, and it will not even connect to the shared grid at first. Note the contrast. One side of the AI boom is a rural town that couldn't give away land fast enough to attract 150 jobs. The other side has enough capital to generate its own power and ignore the public system or negotiations altogether. Why this matters for you. Two different AI economies are forming. The town of Jay, Maine is early evidence of a pattern. Some towns are desperate for revenue and are increasingly reliant on these data centers. In the town of Port Washington, Wisconsin, one data center investment now accounts for half of the entire town's tax base. But even the towns that win this bet don't get much back. A Georgia tech study tracking data centers nationwide found the job and wage gains concentrate almost entirely in already wealthy metro counties. Rural counties that land a facility saw limited employment gains. However, they are still waiting for the promised sweep of prosperity. So the honest version of the AI boom for most of the country is towns restructuring their whole future around staying in the good graces of whichever data center company may build there next. But if you are the town of J, Maine, you don't even get the disappointing version of that deal. You get the empty mill, a vetoed law, and nothing else. Here's the pithy takeaway. The town of J, Maine lost 230 jobs and 12% of its tax base when their paper mill closed. The AI data center that was supposed to replace it only ever promised 125 jobs in return. The governor vetoed her own state's policy just to clear a pathway for the data center to open. The company still walked away. Desperation has never been enough to close a deal. Alright guys, I thank you so much for checking out this issue of Pithy Cyborg AI News Made Simple. I am recording this presentation with my real human voice, and if you want to subscribe, please go to pithycyborg.com, that's Pithy cyborg.com, or just search for Pithy Cyborg on Substack. Thank you so much for checking out this presentation, and I look forward to seeing you in the next issue